Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. In today's video, you will learn how to check if the list is empty or not in Python. Let's see what is a list in Python. List is nothing but a data structure that we use to store a data. Now, in order to create a list in Python, you have to define a list name on the left hand side and the element that you want to store in it on the right hand side. Keep in mind that the element need to be specified inside a square bracket and each individual element need to be separated by comma. Okay, so this is a list with some data. Now, if you want to declare an empty list, then you don't have to specify any value, but you have to specify a square bracket. Now you might be wondering that why we need to check if the list is empty or not. Now if you're using a list in order to store a data in your application, in your program, and if you're performing operations such as reading a data, removing the data, or inserting an element into a list, then at some point in time there might be a situation list may have no data and you are trying to access it. In this situation you will run into an error, which is index error, which can terminate your program or application. That's the reason why you need to check if the list is empty or not. Now let's write a code that will check if the list is empty or not. So what we'll do, we will first define a function and we will name that function as check if empty, and as a parameter we will pass a list that we want to check. Now while calling this function first time, we will pass an empty list, and while calling it second time we will pass a list with some data. Now let's write a code inside a function. So what we'll do, we will first write a if statement, and inside that we will write some condition, and if that condition is true, then we will print list is empty, and if condition is false, then it will go to else part and we will write it as list is not empty. So notice that we have not written condition over here. So what we'll do, we will use this code as a base and we will only change the condition that will return true if the list is empty. Now we will see a 3 condition over here that will return true only if the list is empty. So the first condition that we are going to see is if the length of my list is equal to 0. As you can see, we have written the same piece of code over here. Now if we run this code, we should get first list as empty and second list is not empty, because while calling it first time we are passing a empty list, and while calling it second time we are passing a list with some data. Now let's see the second condition that will return true if the list is empty, that is using a not operator and the length function. Let's remove equal to 0 and let's add not in front of the length function. Now if we run this code, we should get the same output, list is empty and list is not empty. Before explaining, let me tell you how not operator works. Now if we apply not operator to 1, we are getting the output as false, and if we apply not operator to 0, then we are getting the output as true. Now if we apply not operator to any other number, let me apply a not operator to 4, then we are getting a false. If we apply a not operator to 0, we will get output as true. If we apply not operator to any other number, then we will get the output as false. Now if we come back to the example, over here we are first checking the length of my list. If the length is 0, which means that list is empty, and if we apply a not operator to that, then it will return a true and it will execute the if parts. Now let's see the third condition that will return a true if the list is empty, that is comparing a list with an empty list using a equal to operator. Let's first remove the length function and not operator, and let's add equal to an empty list. Now if I run this code, then we should get the same output. Till now we have seen 3 methods to check if the list is empty or not. Now what we'll do, we will write a condition that will return true only if the list contain any data. So for that we have to first interchange the if statement, because we will be writing a condition that will return true only if the list is not empty. Therefore we have to print the statement as list is not empty. So over here also we will use this code snippet as a base and we will only change the condition. So the first condition that we are going to see is we will use list that we are passing as a condition. Now if we run this code, we are getting the same output. Now the second condition is that is using bool operator on a list that we are passing. Let's apply a bool function and let's run the code. We are getting the same output. Now the third approach is pretty interesting, that is we will be using any function to check if the list is empty or not. Now let's replace the bool function with any function and let's run the code. we are getting the same output. So let me tell you what is the use of any function. The any function will return true only if the object that we are passing is iterable. If the list is empty, then it is not iterable. That's why it will return false and it will execute else part. And if the list contain any data, maybe 1 or 2 element, then it is iterable, which means that we can use any looping statement to read an item from a list. And if you apply any function to a list with some data, then it will return true. So all these three approach will only return true if the list is not empty.